and speakers to conclude our event on a high note. Let's make the most of this last day together and continue to learn and collaborate. Thank you for being here. Today we are privileged to have Dr. Carlos Gutierrez, Professor, Department of Behavioral Science from University of Philippines, Manila. The session will shed light on forensic reconstruction using physical evidences with the help of case studies. Before the session, I would like to briefly introduce Dr. Carlos. Am I audible to you, sir? Am I audible to you, sir? So kindly unmute yourself. Sir, am I audible?
Hello. Did you listen to me? Hello.
Hello. Sir, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. You?
Okay, sir. Okay. So here I would like to introduce Dr. Carlos. Dr. Carlos, a highly accomplished professional in forensic science and educational management, holds an impressive array of qualification and experiences spanning several continents. Educated extensively, Dr. Carlos earned a doctorate degree in forensic science from Law Science Institute of Nayarit State, Mexico, complemented by Masters of Science in Forensic Science from Chaminade University of Honolulu, USA. Also, Sir have completed a Masters of Legal and Forensic Medicine through Tech University of Spain, Mexico. Career-wise, Dr. Carlos have served as Assistant Professor of Department of Forensic Science at Chaminade University, USA, and acted as Science Director, Instructor, and International Forensic Consultant in notable cases. Dr. Carlos has contributed extensively to academia, serving as a professor in doctoral and master's program across Bolivia and Mexico. With a background encompassing over 6,000 forensic cases, Sir has authored influential books and held leadership role within a forensic laboratories and professional association globally. Recognized internationally and internationally, Dr. Carlos has received awards in multiple countries and delivered lectures worldwide, making significant contribution to forensic science and education globally. Here, we welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much for your introduction. And thank you so much for all the organizing institution and especially on Sandeep University. I hope I pronounce it well for inviting me and being here today with all of you guys and talking about this topic called forensic reconstruction. I don't know if you can see my screen right now. I saw the biggest screen in the audience, but I don't know if you can see me see the presentation itself. Okay, I don't listen to you really well. I know it's I don't know if you see my
Yes, sir,
my presentation right now in this. Okay, perfect. So in the bottom of in each slide, you will see the social media from my university, from True Forensic Science, and myself. So if you have any question, just feel free to contact me so we can talk more about your doubts or any comments you can have for this presentation. I hope probably next year, who knows, I can be in person with you, but because of my agenda, I couldn't make it in person, but I'm live with you. The technology allowed us to be in this way. So thank you so much for the invitation. I saw your faces right now. So aloha. I say hello to everyone. This is a nice picture. So okay, so I will during this presentation is gonna be, the idea is more uh, I will talk, and if you have any question, we can answer it in the end. Feel free to stop me or ask me the question if kind of urgent. I'm really open to do that. But basically, the overview of this presentation have 6 points. First is I will talk about forensic reconstruction itself. Is not a really new topic in forensic sciences, but I go deeper. The second point I will talk today is about the forensic reconstruction methodology is going to be important. And the third point, and probably the most, is the biggest part of this conference, I will talk and I'll give 3 cases I already worked. So you can see the result using the methodology and using the forensic reconstruction point of view in some specific cases. And of course, conclusion and acknowledgement. First of all, forensic reconstruction, the definition of the association of crime scene reconstruction is basically use all the scientific method, physical evidence, deductive, and inductive reasoning, basically use the scientific method, physical evidence, mixing with the common sense, and relate all these elements to try to solve a crime. Basically, that's it. What is the main issue for forensic reconstruction, or which is the difference between forensic reconstruction and crime scene investigation? For example, the crime scene investigation is something you investigated right away in the scene. So collecting evidence is not just collecting evidence. It's not, you need to answer it, the question, and give your own hypothesis and so on. The forensic reconstruction, and after that, you go to the lab and make the analysis for the evidence you collected at the scene, and you can develop and create your own hypothesis based on, of course, the crime scene investigation methodology, and give your own conclusion. The forensic reconstruction go further, or is the next step, is when the crime scene investigation itself or the police investigation don't give any result at that time because of lack of technology, because lack of knowledge, because you don't have enough evidence, or even the technology or the knowledge doesn't discover yet. So that is the important part of the forensic reconstruction, is when everything or everybody cannot solve the crime, they can call you, and probably you can put all the pieces together again and solve this case, the case. And we will see and talk more about the case, but pretty much the best sample I can give you of this is any case before 1984, meaning before the genetic profile or DNA, basically. So you can check any case before that. And of course, we don't have DNA at that time, so we cannot compare the DNA profile from the victim, from the suspect. So now we can do it because we have DNA and we have better technology, and we can solve the cases or cold cases happened 20, 30 years ago. That is the main idea. Some principles is, I don't know if any of you have any questions for that point. Okay, so in forensic reconstruction, we have some principles, and we need to follow this idea, this principle. The first of all is we need to understand nothing just happened. Something happened because something happened, meaning, and that's why I put this jar, broken jar here. So it's already glued, and you see it's a jar. But something happened with this jar because you can see all the fractures, the concentric and radial fracture in this jar. Meaning you need to figure out why this glass jar was broke, why or who broke it, with which element was broke this glass, you know? So every action, every element is a pre-existing set of circumstances. So if I kick with my shoe a jar, or a glass jar like this one, of course, it's going to be broken. I can break it. So I need to understand that process. Any action lead to something, lead to a consequence. Again, if I kick with my shoe a glass jar, probably I will break it. And I need to understand that. So, and we have other effects we need to understand as well. We have predictable effects. And meaning, for example, I put this picture, this first picture here, and that is a predictable effect. What is this? What you are seeing here? Any of you can see and tell me what you are seeing here? Sorry, I don't listen to you really well. Okay, it's a body with rigor mortis, okay? Rigor mortis is something we can predict. If someone passed, they will have livor mortis, rigor mortis, algor mortis, for sure. And we can predict in certain amount of time, the rigor mortis will start. And we can predict that. We know it, so we can predict it. We have unpredictable effects is something we cannot predict. For example, we are collecting evidence and the wind start blowing or start raining and they wash down all the evidence we have in our door scene. For example, we cannot predict that. We don't know what's happened. Or maybe an earthquake or a storm is something we cannot predict. That's why it's called unpredictable effect. And we need to know it that exists so we can apply it in our investigation. And we have transitory effects. Transitory effects are effects you can see it right away, but this is gonna be gone in some point. For example, smoke of cigarette. If someone is smoking, you will see the smoke of cigarette, but the cigarette is gonna be ended or it's gonna be extinguished in some point. Or like this example, you will have a glass of water with ice, and the ice is gonna be melt in some point. But at the moment when you arrive to this scene, you will see the ice. So they can give you some time, frame time specific, and you can experiment it in the future if you need to replicate it and see, okay, if someone put ice in this glass with water, the ice will melt in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and they give, you can get that time frame. So that's why it's important, the transitory effect. We have cases, and we have two types of cases, basically. We have hot cases, is basically the case is already happening and is investigated by the crime scene investigators, by the police, by the prosecutor office, and is ongoing. So you have everything there, everything is working on. And you have cold cases. And cold cases is a term, is started probably in the 1940s here in the US. The media create this name, and it's really sticky and stay, and everybody understand why the cold case is. And basically, the cold case is when the case get closed, when you when you don't have any suspect, when you don't have any evidence, when you don't have any result. Doesn't matter why, but it's because something you don't have any result, you have a cold case. And probably that case is gonna be put in a folder, wait for, I don't know, whatever time, and save it there. So in both cases scenarios, in both situations, all the investigators need to ask the same questions. What's happened? That is the first question we need to know. What's happened here? Is an homicide, is a suicide, is an accident, whatever the scenario is. Why the victim was killed? Because it's an accident, because someone shot the victim, because whatever. But you need to answer this question. Who had the opportunity to do it? That make you, or that will lead you to the main suspect, probably in the case. Who have the opportunity to do it? Is the husband, is the wife, is the classmate, is the boyfriend, is the girlfriend? You need to figure out that with the evidence, of course, and with all the elements are together. How did this happen? Why this happened? Because it's insurance involved, because was a jealousy, because I don't know, any factor, why happened, and where did it happen? This is my primary scene, is a secondary scene. You need to figure out, this is a really primary scene, or probably someone moved the evidence or try to frame some other place like a primary scene to move it and get the police distracted. You know, that is the idea. For statistics, usually we have a list of cases likely to go cold, and they are pretty common. So, for example, case with missing person or missing people usually get cold. It's unfortunately, it's unjust, is for the missing person, but it's a reality, it's a statistic. Every crime related with gangs or drug related also is get cold, because sometimes people say, yeah, was a fight between gangs and nobody care about the investigation. Sometimes immigrants, homeless as well, they're more common to get caught. Unidentified people, usually migrants are identified. Suicide. This I have a few cases, several cases, sorry, related with this situation, when the case look like a suicide, but during the investigation and when you go further in the investigation, you figure out this wasn't a suicide. It's a frame like a suicide, but it's an homicide. So that's why it's important to be aware of every detail. Unclassified cases and cases sometimes involved with murder of police officer, unfortunately, as well. Going to the methodology of the forensic reconstruction methodology, in 29, Ross Gardner and Tom Bevel published this book, The Practical Crime Scene Reconstruction. And Gardner and Bevel developed a scientific methodology at that time, 2009. We're talking about several years ago. And they defined this methodology called PhD, etc. So it's really sticky and really easy to remember. P is because the problem, so you need to create a problem, your hypothesis, your data, expectation, test, and conclusion. I'll show you here. So you develop the problem. So the problem is the investigative question. You can have multiple investigative question, of course. I will show you in the case later. But the idea is solve every question, if it's possible. That is important. If it's possible. Sometimes you cannot solve all the question, and that is a reality, because again, lack of evidence, or really it's not possible to do it. But for example, one investigative question is a suicide or homicide? That is the question. And you need to develop your hypothesis, collect your data, predict, expect, meaning what you expect about this, make the test based on the hypothesis, and get the conclusion based on this methodology. If it doesn't work, go again with a new question or reformulate the question and go again and again until you have your right conclusion. That is a scientific method, basically. But in 2023, I updated this methodology and I add the letter D as a discussion, as a scientific discussion before the conclusion. So that gives us a better scope about why you will conclude in that situation. Why that give you the option to explain why this is happened, why you conclude in that way. So under my methodology is problem, hypothesis, data, expectation, test, discussion, and conclusions. So I applied this methodology, this new methodology in several cases and work much better, of course, with the past one. And I have a really, really nice result and turned a lot of cases, as I mentioned you before. Suicide are really homicide. And we will, and I'll talk to you about one of these specific cases later. So now we will talk about case analysis. And please, I want to mention these are cases. Some of them are still open. I'll show the results, of course, but they remain open, some of them. So please be aware of that. I'll show you a few pictures. So please, for the respect of the victims. This is a first case. This is one of the, all the cases are important, but probably one of the most iconic cases I have. Because of the length of the case, took like 5 years to solve it. And also because of the media took this case really, really hard. So they showed this case on TV for 5 years. I worked on TV in Chile for a few years because of this case. They hired me to explain what is going on about this and doing the investigation and so on. So this case is a really well-known, internationally well-known case because of what of the repercussions have. And this case happened in Chile, in Santiago, in February 10, 2018. 2018. I don't know, you can remember what you did that day, February 10, 2018, in 2018 at 5:30 p.m. And this happened. This is a place. This is Chile. This is the longest and the skinniest country in South America. Here's Antarctica, and this is Santiago. It's the capital city of Chile. And in the north of this capital city, the victim. Was the house of the victim, and this is the place the victim was found 2 years after, and she just walked 2 minutes, and that's it. And this is the video, the last video footage for the victim from, she was walking over there, and you see it, and this is the only record someone have from the victim. So when she left the house, she was alive. So that is again the video over there, and you see the victim in the top of the image over there. She was 21. Over there is a circle. She was a victim, Fernanda. Fernanda was 22 years old. She was pregnant of 7 months. And she went to this house, this one, to meet one of her friends, 10 years old friend. I mean, for 10 years, her friend. She went in this place and never come back. What we know at that time, she was missing. She were that close. She left the house with just the keys and her cell phone. And she has a hummingbird tattoo in her back. You can Google it, this case, and you will see it's really well known. So you have cases and you see all the TV station in Chile talking about this case for 5 years. These all different shows, morning shows, and talk every single day. This is the mom of the victim. This is a sister. This is one lawyer of the TV lawyer. This is the family lawyer, and so on. In June 24, 2019, at 9:30 p.m., she was found. She was found in the same house. The house was searched six times before by the police, and they don't find nothing. And I arrived. I moved from. I went from here, from the U.S. to Chile to work in this case. In the same day, we found the victim. So and was in the news everywhere, in the newspaper, all the TV channel, everything, and was in the same place I told and the family told. Search well. So I went there, and Fernanda was found. What we know and what we knew at that moment, she was buried in the same day. So she was missing 16 months, and she was killed in the same day. She has a 7-month pregnancy, and the baby was found halfway of the birth canal. So, and the victim was wrapped with party tent fabrics and covered with lime and cement in this grave. The deceased was mummified, the skin because of the lime. And unfortunately, the scene was processed 6 times by the police and the place, and never found it because they don't look in the good way. They have one suspect, was the neighbor, her friend, but he remained silent, so they don't have nothing, the prosecutor office. So what I have to make a forensic reconstruction was the photo of the scene, the victim body, the mom and the baby, and the victim clothes and the party tent fabric. So this is the scene. This is the way the body was found, and in this position. And because of that, I used the UV camera and infrared photography to take some images. So I used this infrared camera to see these images, and I get some of the marks. Oh, sorry. I think it's. Oops. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about it. So we have these marks in the skin. Thanks for the infrared camera. So I found in this mark in the skin, meaning she was alive when we found these marks. I was able to see with the infrared camera. After that, I used this device. It's a UV multispectral device from Forenscope, and I analyzed the victim clothes and the party tent fabric, and we found some ruptures here. So the victim clothes was ripped, basically. That is a clear sign of raping. And in the clothing, we found some semen stains. So she was raped, basically. You see the positive test. And after that, and because I have the mark in the face for some handprint, this is the suspect, this is the boyfriend of the victim, and I use a software to get the size of the hand of the suspect, because of course he will not cooperate. He didn't cooperate with the investigation. So he remained silent. And of course, if I ask him for a sample of the size of his hand, of course, he will say no. So I used this video from TV. I took it from YouTube, and I use this software. So I use the vehicle plate for figure out the size and the size of each pixel in the image. So I take the size of the hand of the suspect, the stature of the suspect as well, and I put it in the top in the image, the infrared image I have in the beginning from the face of the victim, and the hand of the suspect almost match perfectly with the handprint we have in the victim skin, meaning it's possible he do it, because if the hand was smaller, of course, it can be exonerated. In this case, was almost perfect match. So the conclusion for this case, and because of all this evidence, I conclude the suspect approached the victim from behind and put his left hand and occlude the mouth and the nose in this position, occlude the mouth on the nose of the victim. And because of the victim was pregnant, she lost the conscious, because pregnant women need more oxygen. And if you private the victim of the oxygen, of course, it's going to be lose the conscious. That doesn't mean it's dead. And that is a really important point. And the suspect, with the other hand, with the free hand, lower the top of the dress, raise the bottom of the dress, and ripped the underwear of the victim, and the victim unconscious. The suspect start rape her, and because of that, the suspect start press the belly of the victim, and thus produce the baby go halfway in the beer canal. And of course, that was proved because we have a semen stains in the dress. So he cleaned up. And we have the trial last June, 1 year ago, and meaning 5 years and 4 months after the crime happened. And the author of the crime was convicted of rape, homicide, and abortion, and he got life sentence in prison without parole, thanks to the evidence I found under the case I reconstruct. We'll go now to the case number 2. This case is a missing victim. Other missing victim happened in 2021 in February, and he was missing and was in all the TV news again because was a small boy, 3 years old, and he was found 9 days after when he was missing. And we start what evidence the police found when he was the body. Of course, the deceased, the sweater of the boy, one t-shirt of the boy, some jogs, pants, underwear, socks, and sneakers. This evidence was processed by, in Chile, you have two national police, and this national police have 2 forensic labs, each of them. So these 2 forensic labs analyze this clothing, and also the National Medical Examiner Office analyzed the evidence, and the result was the clothing especially don't have any evidence at all. After that, the family asked me for help, and I start processing the clothing again in the one of the police labs. The prosecutor allowed me to do that, so I went all the time with police officer and analyzed the clothing, and I used some specific new product in the market. It's called SDK, and thanks to the SDK is a product that detects semen. So it's no false positive, no false negative. It's 100% accurate, and they give you So I analyzed all the evidence, especially the clothing. I use STK. This is the name of this new technology. And I found semen stains, and under the microscope I saw. So we found semen basically. So the kid was raped by the author of the crime. This case is still open, so we are waiting for the trial. And again, sorry, sometimes internet doesn't work. And there you go. Sorry. And the case is still open, so the prosecutor office has all my reports. So I conclude what's happened in the case. I cannot explain you too well now because it's an open case, but I was able to establish a probably cause of death, a manner of death. I conclude, of course, the rape, and also the post-mortem interval. I was able to do it because I did a forensic taphonomy experiment at that day, and probably for explain that it's going to be take whole complete time of other conference. I can show you when the case is closed. That part that is pretty interesting, and also was the first time someone do it in South America, that kind of experiment for a specific case. And this is the last case I have for you guys today. This is case number 3. This is also is an open case. This case is a suicide case. It's a woman who went out with his partner car and never come back. She was reported missing by her partner and her daughter. The daughter is not, the partner is not the father of the daughter victims, is other father. And the car was found in a waterway several days ago, after she was missing. And the victim's body was found 13 days, after she was missing, and in the same waterway, 21 kilometers away from the car. So, and the case was ruled as a suicide because everybody thought she was dropped the car, crashed inside this waterway, and just passed because of the water, and the body was out of the car. Here I applied the forensic methodology, the forensic reconstruction methodology, and this is when I apply this methodology in this specific case, because we have several answers. In the other 2 cases, we have pretty much the basic questions I explained you in the beginning, so I need to answer that question. Here, we need to develop the questions with the lawyer and with the family victims, the victim's family, and we developed these 5 investigative questions. So the question number was the victim was driving the car when the car fell in the waterway. That is the first question. She was driving the car. The second question was, the victim was inside the car when the vehicle fell in the waterway. And the first 2 questions are similar, but if you see are different. First, you need to figure out if she was driving the car. And the second one is figure out if she was inside the car. Could be in other position inside the car, doesn't mean driving. The third question was, the place where the car was found is the primary scene. That is also an investigative question I made. The fourth one was the place pointed by the daughter of the victim. It is the primary scene, meaning where the car fell in the waterway and was really far from the place the car was found. But the daughter victim finds several evidence there, meaning part of a vehicle, a cell phone, in really uncommon places, but you have some evidence in this point. So that's one question. And of course, the last question was, in this case, is an accident, suicide, or homicide? For the hypothesis, for the first question, was the first hypothesis, the victim was driving when the car fell in the waterway. The other hypothesis for that question is the victim wasn't driving. For the other question, the victim was inside the car. The other hypothesis for that question, the victim wasn't inside the car. The third question was, or the third hypothesis for the third question is, the place where the car was found is the primary scene. The other hypothesis for that question is the opposite, of course, is not the primary scene. And so on with the other question, with the other hypothesis. And the question number 5 has 3 hypotheses, because one option is an accident, the second option or the second hypothesis is a suicide, and the third hypothesis is an homicide. So we need to figure out which hypothesis is the right one at the end of the investigation. This picture is the picture of the car. The actual car was found in the waterway. The thing here, and that was important in this case, the statement by the police who found this car and tried to remove the car from the waterway, because the current of the waterway is really high. And all this damage wasn't made in any accident, was made because at the moment when they tried to remove the car from the waterway, they ripped the roof, they ripped the hood, and all of this part. And the police the police at this and the place report that in his report. So that was the first mistake the prosecutor office made, and the police officer, the investigator, because he assumed all this damage was made from a car accident and wasn't. So that was the first turnover we make in the investigation. All the data for the question, the data for the question number 1 is all the findings and report related with the car. What we found in the car and what we found in this data. First of all, and one of the important things of the security features the cars have is airbags, and the airbags wasn't deployed at the moment. If any of this car, I call the manufacturer, I send emails, so they give me all the specific characteristic of the car, and they explain me this car, this specific model have 6 airbags, and they deploy is if someone hit the sensor they have here in the bumper, on the back bumper, or in the sides of the car. So wasn't deployed any airbag in this model. So, and the only way the airbag deploys in this specific car, and pretty much in all cars, was first, you need to have the key in the contact, and the car need to be on, basically. So all the sensors are on, and that's the way they can deploy the airbags. And secondly, the airbag doesn't deploy is if no one is sit down in the driver's seat. So there we have 2 answers because of that. First of all, the car wasn't on, because if wasn't on, if they were on, all the airbags were deployed. So if they don't deploy, the car was off, and the car keys wasn't found in the car, in the keyhole. So wasn't inside the car, so the car was off all the time. And also, other important key they told us was they need someone sit in the driver's seat, because the weight of the driver activates some sensors. If no one is sit there, this sensor doesn't activate it, meaning the airbag doesn't deploy. So that was a huge discovery for me, So basically the first question is already solved. The victim wasn't driving the car. And that's huge. So all the hypothesis of suicide fell down in pieces. The autopsy report also don't explain any injuries or explain the victim don't have any injuries related with that car accident, meaning seat belts, the windshield mark in the chest, in the head, something. She don't have nothing. She have some injuries though, in legs and one big injury in the head, but was in other part and is not, again, wasn't related with any car accident at all. So that give us some ideas of, okay, probably someone, a third party involved here is not the full play. So, and we continue collecting all this information, and the information was in the report. And this is a place where the daughter of the victim say was the primary scene. So she told the car was drove here, broke this fence, and fell inside the canal and go in that way, in this direction. This is the current direction. So first of all, if you have some traffic barrier like this, if you crash it in that direction, of course, you will see in that way, no, in this way. That is the first thing. No, all the vegetation in the place was intact, meaning wasn't any accident. And in the car, one part of the car has a big hole in the carter, meaning when the car keep all the oil, so they leave you, if they was broke here, they will leave an oil trail easy, and we never found this oil trail. So this scene wasn't the primary scene, meaning probably the daughter planted and put some evidence there to distract the police during the investigation. This is the place where the car was found and was around almost 4 kilometers away from this place. And we figured out the current of this waterway don't have the enough or is not strong enough to move the weight or the volume of the car for 4 kilometers. And also the car don't have any damage in the sizes or related with the car was moved for 4 days in the water. We test all our hypotheses based on the evidence I explained you right now and all the reports we already have. I tested, and I have this discussion, and I present my discussion in my report related with all these findings. This is impossible to happen because of this, because of that, and that this part of this discussion, the letter D, give you this flexibility to explain the court, to explain the lawyer, to explain the family, to explain the defensor what you did and why you conclude in that way. And pretty much the conclusion for the question number 1 was the victim wasn't driving at the moment of the accident. For the question number 2, the evidence showed the victim wasn't inside the car. The number 3 was yes, the place where the car was found is the primary scene. The question number 4, the conclusion was the place pointed by the daughter of the victim wasn't the primary scene, meaning probably the same daughter, put this fake evidence there to distract the police investigation. And the conclusion number 5 was this case wasn't a suicide, it's an homicide. Wasn't an accident neither, it's an homicide. So now it's rule, and we changed the rule thanks to this forensic reconstruction report I made. We changed it from accident, suicide to homicide. And the main suspect are the partner of the victim and her daughter. So as a conclusion, the main goal of forensic reconstruction is solve the question can be raised during the investigation process or when other experts cannot solve. Because again, because they don't have enough technology or because of the technology doesn't create it yet. But basically our main goal as a forensic reconstructionist is try to solve the investigative question raised during this investigation, and anyone can solve it yet. The forensic reconstruction can help hot cases or current cases, but also cold cases if we use the right knowledge and the right technology. Doesn't matter if you have the best technology in the world, you need to have the knowledge. And of course, no one know everything. So you need to have knowledge, the networking to ask other experts to say, you know, what do you think about this? What is your opinion about that? Or, you know, I have this specific case. Can I hire you to help me to solve it? And so on. So this is pretty important, the mix between the knowledge, but also with the technology and the relationship with other experts. Applying forensic reconstruction methodology will help you to organize and provide a scientific answer for each investigative question. Sometimes the victim, sometimes meaning the family, sometimes the prosecutor or the defensor, they have the question, but you need to use this methodology to answer that specific question. And sometimes the question can be changed. So that's why you are there as a scientist, to help them and prove it in the scientific way. Everything needs to be proved in the scientific way. Not because I think, not because I believe this. I know this because this is the facts and these are the evidence to prove this. Remember, we are scientists, so never forget that. And I put this in other color because probably you will have several cases during your life, of course. And a lot of cases could be similar, but all the cases are totally different between each other. All of them. Because you have different evidence, because you have different resources, because you have the media in the top of you asking you for questions, because the victims are different as well. So are similar, and you can apply the same knowledge in similar cases, but remember, all the cases are totally different and all the cases are important. I want to say thank you. This is at the end of my presentation to give you a few minutes for questions if you have. To Sandeep University, thank you so much for having me today. Of course, the International Conference of Recent Development in Forensic Sciences 2024. Thank you so much for invitation. When I received your email, I was more than happy to be with you guys today. Of course, thanks to True Forensic Science and Chaminade University to allow me to be here today with you guys. So thank you so much. I don't know if you have any questions. These are my email address, my social media. All my social media is the same: Forensic Carlos G, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So please follow me and we can talk without any problem. I don't know if you have any questions. As we say here in Hawaii, mahalo. Thank you so much. I'm open to all your questions.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Gratitude, Dr. Carlos G. on behalf of everyone present here for your insightful and captivating talk. Despite the difficulties posed by the time zones and distance, you have made a major effort to participate in our online discussion and provide insightful commentaries. Our conference has been enhanced by our commitment and participation. Thank you once again for your time and effort for being a part of our event, sir. Thank you very much. You can leave the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So you can leave the meeting.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't understand. I don't listen to you. Will you repeat that?
Leave the meeting now.
Yeah, could you repeat because I don't understand you. Sorry. It's really bad, the noise.
I'd like to leave the meeting. So can you leave the Zoom meeting?
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we are privileged to have Attorney Aloydance P. Santos, Commission on Human Rights of the Philippines, Central Luzon. The session will shed light on role of forensics in human reinvestigations, ensuring accountability and upholding justice.